Hey there gamers, and welcome to Ultravision's 23rd game review, which is Battlefield 4 for the Xbox 360. The latest installment in the renowned Battlefield franchise. Has DICE delivered on expectations to surpass other competing FPS games? Let's find out.
Burn those motherfuckers! Son of a bitch!
Battlefield 4's story hasn't always been the main selling point in its releases, and it is unfortunate to say that Battlefield 4's campaign mode is a letdown. You play as Sergeant Wrecker of Tombstone Squad, who is caught in the middle of Chinese martial law and have to do what is necessary to ensure war does not break out between the US. The story feels hashed together, as many explanations and characters just feel pushed off to the side with no care. Nobody is memorable throughout the experience, and it all boils down to what seems like an extremely rushed ending. The dialogue is somewhat more tolerable than it was before, but there are still some pretty corny lines.
We gotta go. Is he dead? He's not dead, he's just passed out. You're the combat lifesaver, man. You should know this, Pat. It was like a 3-hour course.
The story doesn't fare too well and is quite short, lasting only about 5 hours. The actual gameplay involves you and a squad progressing from checkpoint to checkpoint, mowing down enemies that show little signs of intelligence in the field of battle. The AI won't do a whole lot and sometimes will become totally oblivious to you. There are some vehicles that you are allowed to use in the campaign, which adds a little more variety, but these finds are few and far between. Overall, the single player feels like an afterthought. But likewise, people don't purchase Battlefield for playing it alone. They buy it for its online offerings. Once again, DICE continues to revolutionize warfare on a more down-to-earth scale and still make it the most exciting, unscripted, and rewarding online experiences ever conceived. Rather than lone wolf tactics which mainly prove ineffective, Battlefield 4 demands that teamwork and coordination will lead you to victory. You select from 5 classes now, the new one being Commander, and do what you can to keep your team in the game. This involves healing, reviving, spotting, and repairing. If your teammates are thinking the same way, you'll win matches graciously. Battlefield 4's multiplayer is built with a new game mechanic called Levolution. This allows changes during gameplay, such as weather or destruction, to be provided as a tactical advantage for anyone and must be adjusted to. It definitely keeps gamers on their toes at all times, as any second a change in forte can lead unprepared players to disaster. Of course, much of the mechanics seen in previous Battlefield games are all present. Vehicles play a major role, communication is key amongst players, the maps are absolutely huge, and almost anything can be blown to pieces with a well-placed round. The Commander mode adds a new style of play to the game, as it's your duty to guide your teammates to victory. This implies ordering your squads to objectives, carrying out ammo drops, UAV sweeps, and Tomahawk missile strikes. As you level up, you keep unlocking more equipment for your classes and guns. A new twist DICE has added are battle packs, which are like little mystery boxes that award you with new attachments, weapons, and experience boosts for short periods of time. You can also create missions amongst your friends, which adds to its competitive value. If there were a few complaints with the multiplayer, it would be that the battle log system is not exactly console friendly. Almost nothing can be accessed from a console and really could use more involvement on home systems. The game also has a habit of freezing at random times again, and that's a problem that really should have been addressed. Finally, I personally would have liked a slightly larger player limit for the consoles, as just an even 24 players can really leave a lot of space between you and your targets. That aside, Battlefield 4's multiplayer is overflowing with content that will keep you busy for months on end, and with the new mechanics incorporated, the game is definitely finding new ways to keep itself fresh without drifting too far off its roots. Graphics-wise, what can't be said about Frostbite 3's technology? Its super realistic environments are very well detailed and colored. The lip-syncing animations and destruction effects all look like it's really happening, plus its splendid lighting and debris effects are all top-notch. The controls for Battlefield 4 change up some of the layouts once again. The new driving and flying controls may take a little time to get used to, but if you're a veteran of the series, you can change the controls back to their previous form where you can slide into them nicely. The music in Battlefield 4 feels underwhelming to say the least, and is hardly noticeable when in action. The classic theme from all Battlefield games is slightly better than its previous iteration, but it's a little too electronic for my tastes. The sound design for the game perfectly matches the graphical quality. Bullets and explosions are all environmentally sensitive to add a sense of realism and works effectively. The voice acting again is film and television quality, as it adds to the overall presentation greatly.
Warriors on the Valkyrie. All of us have suffered. Lost friends, loved ones. We will ensure it was not in vain.
Battlefield 4 is a must-have for any fan of the first-person shooter genre. Its single player may have a few more stand-up moments than before, but still feels like an afterthought and can waste a couple hours of your time. But its trademark multiplayer is reinvented in a grand new thematic way compiled with huge replayability options, and you have yourself a must-own game.